Hello, ladies and gentlemen from around the world. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Global Talkative series with your host, Lanre Ajayi, reaching you now from the Global Talkative series studio here in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Now, this is a global platform to hang out, collaborate, and inspire one another. And we're sorry for starting out a bit behind schedule today. It was due to some little challenges here and there, but we're good. We're back online. And we have an amazing guest, on this show. We've been blessed with individuals from around the world who are coming on this show to share their world of experiences with our global audience. And I'm going to bring her in on Instagram because we are coming to you real time live streaming on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So I want to connect our guests to the Instagram, platform so that we can carry everybody along on the show. So I just sent an invitation to our guest, and then we're expecting her to join any moment from now. Did you see any invitation from me yet?
I see you.
Just click or just something like, okay, join watch party or something, and then I can see you. I can just connect. Okay, yeah, all right. Okay, you're gonna come in any moment from now. That is wonderful. That is wonderful. So we have our guest in the house. This is amazing. Now, today, our guest on the show is no other person than Nevin Dominic, the entrepreneur and CEO of Nevin Dominic Cosmetics. And the topic of our discussion today is something very, very, unique in so many ways. Our discussion today is going to be centered on the biography, the book written by our guest, Beauty from Ashes of War, from a South Sudanese refugee in Egypt to CEO in Canada. You know, there's a lot that we're going to learn today from our guest. And like we do it on this show, I'm going to read you the profile of our guest so that you can connect with her when it's time for you to ask questions and you can relate with us as we go on in the show. So here comes the bio of our guest. A multiple award winning South Sudanese entrepreneur and philanthropist. Nevin Dominic is what success stories are made of. Refusing to be defined by a painful past, Nevin decided to build a legacy for a family and community and took the beauty industry by storm with the launch of Nevin Dominic Cosmetics in 2014. Using our knowledge and expertise in the fashion and beauty industry, Naveen has developed a water and mineral based makeup and dermatologist formulated skincare line for healthy, beautiful, and breathable skin fit for every ethnicity. Our products are manufactured in a state of the art facility, and our formulas give a natural celebrity glow, drawing strength from our passion of freedom, unity, and equality, and wanting to give back to the community. Nevin proudly founded Beauty Response to Cancer, where cancer patients are provided with cosmetic products and wigs tailored to their needs and particular skin sensitivities. Nevin has regularly been featured in various media platforms locally and globally. She's been recognized as one of the top 10 influencing women of the decade in Africa by Global Vision's Women's Choice Award 2020. She believes that it's not what you do in life, but how you do it. She's proud of her heritage and has dedicated a collection of foundations and powders palette called Juba in tribute to South Sudan. And for more information about that, you can check Nevin Dominic Cosmetics. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome our guest today, Nevin Dominic. How are you, Nevin?
I am doing very well. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction, and thank you for having me on your show here today.
That's wonderful. I must say that Nivin is a friend, a sister from another mother, a wonderful person to work with. And I'm glad that she, had time to be on the show today because she's a very busy woman. And I'm grateful that she's here on the show and we can learn a tool from our journey because it's loaded. It's full of pain, challenges, victory, triumph, all of that. So you're in for a good time. And if you're joining us from around the world, thank you for Teso 211, Luca 13 for joining, and all those who are joining, for those who are joining from around the world, thank you for joining. We appreciate you. Now let's go straight into today's the questions that we have for our guest today. You were born in South Sudan, right?
That's right.
Now,
In
in a
Juba,
place
to be
called
exact.
Juba.
That's
Now,
right.
the first question I have is take us on the memory lane from Juba till now about your childhood.
Wow. My childhood. It's quite huge. I've transitioned through different phases in my life. I was born in Juba, South Sudan, with my family. My father was a politician and a humanitarian. And as things gotten a lot worse for us in South Sudan with the war and everything, my father was appointed a position with the government and everything in South Sudan. But he looked at all the risk because the security there is really kind of like it's hard there is no like human rights. There is nobody that is gonna like protect you or anything like that. You are really pretty much on your own. And my dad was a very educated South Sudanese politician. He spoke 23 different languages, and he had just moved from Italy because he grew up in Italy. And so we moved to the North South Sudan, which is known today as Sudan. And when we moved to the north, I went through a lot of challenges, especially with school because I was Catholic, and the government school, what they called it in Sudan, is Muslim. So we had to go to private school. But very quickly, my dad exhausted all of our personal resources because he practically turned our house into a refugee camp for a lot of South Sudanese people that are escaping the war. Like they're just living with the clothes on their back. And then just like, oh, I know so and so in this city or in that city. And they will just show up and tell you, I have nowhere to go. So we just had to accommodate them until we had 40 people living in our house.
Wow.
So that was huge because you can imagine just like eating, for example, like, like to make dinners and stuff like that. Like we had huge, huge pots. It feels like we have a wedding every day. And my mom still does that until today. I don't even know where she would have found those pots because in the Sudanese community here in Calgary, so she still attends like those events. Sadly, most of them are negative events. So she makes those like big, pots of, soups and stuff like that because she's
Yeah.
already used to it, caring for us, in Sudan and whatnot. So just like, the political and religious issues that we have had, just kind of put us in a very compromising position. My father moved to Ghana, and he was working for United Nations in Accra. And we had to like literally flee because our life was in danger. We had to move to Egypt. And in Egypt, we were refugees, and the United Nations gave us an asylum based on our story of what happened all the way that we found ourselves in Egypt. And that's pretty much how I came to Canada.
Hmm. Now, you said something about growing up in a household full of almost 40 people at a time. How do you
Hmm.
guys, you're talking about cooking, you can just like get a big pot and cook. How
Hmm.
about hygiene? How do you cope in that kind of environment with the 40 folks in one in a house, whether big or small? How do you manage to keep your sanity?
Well, this is where you will have to get your priorities straight, right? And the priority is that you're not having a bomb over your head. So even if you have to lay on top of a million people, that at least you're alive. And
Hmm.
that humbling experience have really taught me to appreciate everything that I have. So even like, not to jump a little bit ahead, like I look at the COVID-19 situation, you know, and I thank God because there are some people out there are praying to be where I am right now, you
Mhm.
know? So just dealing with, like you said, everything. The good thing is like we had a big house. Like my father had to cut down on a lot of the resources and stop prioritizing humanity. And this is where the humanitarian aspect of his. So we used to go to private school. We had tons of properties. We had drivers, like chefs, everything. So my dad had to cut out all of these extra people that we had in our house. And then we had to move to government school. And to go to government school, this is where my experience with Islam was, because the uniform was hijab. I used to wear hijab, and I used to be, like it was part of the school routine. We had to do reciting of the Quran every morning.
Yeah.
It was like huge. It's very intense. Like here in Canada, like yes, there is Christians, there is whatever, but people are not really like forced to go to church every day to pray. But
Yeah.
over there, it's very disciplined. It's like in high level. You know what I'm saying? Like you had to wake up first thing in the morning. I mean, the Muslim people were praying. I was doing it as part of my school. But as soon as school starts, when we resume, like school has started, before we do the national anthem of Sudan, we had to do all those, reciting the Quran and stuff like that. So it was just like very, very different. And with the reduction of the resources, we were able to prioritize what is more important, which was food, because like it was really scarce and nobody had a job. And that included my father at that time, because all he had was his assets and whatever money that he brought from abroad, which was like, it was going really, really fast. Resources were becoming very scarce. And this is where I would say I've witnessed my mom, who is like my entrepreneurial mentor, you know what I'm saying, who have
Yeah.
taught me so much about just evaluating your situation. And I literally watched her. I'm the oldest in the family. So I've watched her from when we were dealing with the 40 people in our house, when we were refugees in Egypt and we had absolutely nothing, not even family, not nothing, from coming to Canada until today. She's just such a phenomenal and an amazing woman. And I thank God for my parents and my upbringing, because all of those are the building blocks of my personality.
Thank you so much. You said something about having some experience about war. How can you take us, give us a bit of an idea of what went down? War for most of us, what we've seen about war is what we've seen in movies. We've not
Mm-hmm.
really like I've not really seen war up front. The least I've just
Mm-hmm.
experienced probably this uproar riot when I was in the higher institution, the university. So what
Mm-hmm.
was it like?
Well, we were actually a lot younger when we were in South Sudan, and South Sudan has went through various waves of genocide. And for South Sudanese people, it kind of really, since I was born into this war. My father was born into this war. I'm sure my grandfather was going into this war. So it's cyclical. Like even right now, like South Sudan has been divided from what is known as Sudan today, because that is supposed to be peace. But is there really peace? There is no peace. And
Mm,
even there has been several civil wars that had gone on even after the country was divided. And this comes down all to that like mindset, you know. There is a lot of tribal conflicts, you know, and our family has gone through a lot, and sometimes it's a little bit, challenging for me to share, because I have to think about my safety, the safety of my family. I
mm.
lost my father actually in South Sudan because
Wow.
of some of these political issues that are, boundaries that I really don't want to like touch on too much.
Mm.
Like and he was a Canadian citizen, like, and he wanted it to make a lot of impact even after we came to Canada and all of that. Took on some projects that he wanted it to work in South Sudan, but because of a lot of those issues, it wasn't really received very well and everything. Like he was tortured and he died from his torture wounds. That's
Wow.
why I'm really, really meticulous. War is war. I'm gonna define war as conflict. Everybody has experienced conflict that they can imagine, and like there's even like mental war that people
Yeah.
are having war in their own head. So it's an intense and deep conflict. And when you find yourself, you don't know how you got here, you don't know how to get out of it, but you have to deal with it. So that is
Mm,
my birth. I was born into it. So
mm,
now we have to like figure it out. Like with his position and with all that was going on, automatically we are a target. It doesn't
mm,
matter what I
yeah,
do. The point is, this is my name, this is who I am, and this is what it is.
mm,
And because of that, like one has to always look over their shoulder, because you don't, like, there is, like, I grew up with a lot of trust issues before I
mm,
found Christ,
mm,
because I really felt so unsafe to the level where I felt like everybody in the world is out to get me.
mm,
And half of the
mm,
time, with a lot of us, it end up turning out quite like that, because our
mm,
people have not been liberated from some of those extreme, intense,
mm,
hereditary conflict. Like some
mm,
people who they don't even know why do they hate a particular tribe. If you ask them,
yeah,
they won't even have an answer, but they have inherited that from either their parents or their community, and that kind of thing.
yes,
So it makes it really really difficult, and that has been the biggest challenge for us to deal with that.
mm,
Even the day that the security of the northern part of Sudan, when Sudan was the same country, like they were planning to execute us in our own house. You know what I'm
wow,
saying? Because of my father, who was not even in the country and who has not committed a crime. You know what I mean? Like my
yeah,
mom was put in federal prison,
wow,
and I was the oldest, and I had to assume the role of a parent immediately at the age of 12, you
mm,
know? So really, like a lot of responsibilities at once. There is no help. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
who do you run to? The police? Do you have any bribes for the police? And even
mm,
if you do, where are they going to start looking for whatever
mm,
it is that you're looking for?
mm, mm,
So there's a lot of jungle justice out there, and just the
mm,
country. We continue to pray to have more structure, and to have the people unite, and try to break out of those ideas of tribalism, and all those like horrific things that people project on others or inflict on others.
thank you so much. I can just imagine the kind of trauma you've gone through with your siblings at age 12, having
Mhm,
to assume the responsibility of the father, the mother,
mhm,
coupled with the emotional, backlog of your mom be in jail, your dad, all of that. Now,
mhm.
maybe or not, someone from the United Nations or governments or authorities watching today, what word of advice do you have for those who still, enjoy, the act of, war, still fueling the hatred, issue about war, warring nations? What word do you have for them? Those who are still trying to, instigate wars, either from nations to nations. What do you have for them?
The truth is, you can change certain people with certain mindset, you know? And that's why in a lot of things that I do, I'm a huge advocate of education, because I believe that ignorance is the most deadliest weapon that has ever infiltrated the earth. And
Mm,
when you're dealing with people who have like deep rooted ideas about a certain group, you know, like that is to me is even like a spiritual blockage. Like it's only the grace of God that can break something like this, you know. I'm not sure if I'm really communicating it effectively here, but we have like certain tribes. Like I will give you an example, whom they live here in North America. Some people that I met in New York, they didn't even know I was South Sudanese. Most even South Sudanese people, they never think I'm South Sudanese for some reason. And the particular individual was super excited to collaborate with me in a business idea, right? I think they thought I was Nigerian for some reason. And you see the passion and the excitement to work with me. But then as soon as they realize in the product, Juba, and then they're like, what is that? What is this Juba? You know what I'm saying? And then I share about what my vision is about Juba, you know what I'm saying? And I talk about for our South Sudanese girls, as you can see, we have very dark shades, and the industry has different, like they're like, you can even tell like the energy, the vibe is like moving in 3D towards the negative way. We're
wow.
like, oh my goodness, like what a disappointment. Do you know what I'm saying? Like after
Wow.
all of this, I can't believe I'm dealing with a South Sudanese person. You know what I mean? And then at the
Wow.
end of the day, and it's some will do it in a diplomatic way and act like, oh wow, this is so awesome. We South Sudanese people, we come together, we do this, we do this. But then there is no follow up. All of a sudden, you don't know what happened to all that excitement just
Hmm.
because you found out I'm from South Sudan and from a particular tribe. Do
Wow.
you know what I
Wow.
mean?
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. It's very hard to say. I can talk to, like, say, like, United Nations can only do so much. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Our people have a long, long way to go.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I just try my best, you know what I'm saying, to try to lead by example in the little bit that I can do. But the
Hmm.
issue is massive and it's
Hmm.
generational.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
it's deep rooted issues.
Thank you so much. And that's the reason why we have this show so that we can bring attention to subjects that are very, very touchy to our hearts. And this is still the Global Talkative Series with me, Larry Ajayi, and our guest today is Nevin Dominic, the CEO of Nevin Dominic's Cosmetics. And today's topic is beauty from ashes of war. A story, a reality of what happened to our guest from South Sudan to Egypt as a refugee and now in Canada. And that leads me to the next question. How did you end up in Canada?
As I have stated earlier, we received an asylum from United Nations. So my story pretty much is similar to a lot of South Sudanese people's story and how they came to Canada. It's either they came through Egypt, through Ethiopia, Uganda, or some other country, outside where they were refugees and needed some assistance. And half of the time were often treated badly in these areas, and that's where we seek asylum from United Nations. And that's how I will say maybe 80 or 90% of South Sudanese people, how they came abroad, whether it's to Canada, United States, or, like Australia or whatever. So this is kind of the way it is. Like, the South Sudanese story is a very familiar one to United Nations because they have a lot of projects that they were working in South Sudan when I was younger. And one of them was Sudan Aid, where my father was working and where we were volunteering as well to help, just other victims of war, to just kind of give us a space, like a little community of our own, to try to just survive what has been going on in our own country.
That is amazing. Now that leads to the next question. You know, you're living in Canada and growing up in Canada, from the experience of trauma and challenges you've gone through Sudan, Juba, Sudan, and Egypt, now Canada. What did you find challenging, with growing up, particularly as a person of color in Canada?
Um, of course, there is a language barrier, there is a culture shock, there was all of that. And it's also the time that I came to Canada is very different than what Canada is today. When I came to Canada, there were hardly any actually Black people. Forget about Africans, forget about, South Sudanese people. So I remember we used to host any time that there is a Sudanese person that came to London, Ontario. We will host them in our house and we'll do, like, a whole, like, community coming together and putting together a party to welcome the person to Canada. And that just kind of came from how we were, you know what I mean, in kind of in Sudan, growing up with the whole 40 people. We are just, a collective culture, and we like to be close to people. We like to make people feel welcome. We like
Mm,
people to, like, I guess some of the support we were looking for when we first came to Canada that was scarce. We try to become that support and provide that support to newcomers that were coming, like, to Canada. And at the same time, we used to do it as Ontario wide. That's how scarce the number of South Sudanese people that were there. It was even an African community. So the whole African community will welcome the Sudanese people. And, it just kind of evolved from there. So I would say, like, culture shock. There was, like, I spoke, my first language is Arabic. So everything is backwards for me because,
mm,
like, English goes this way, Arabic goes that way. And just being Black, even amongst other Middle Eastern people, like, when I speak Arabic, it just freaks them out because they're like, how is this possible? You know what I mean? And how is she saying all these things? So those were the challenges. But I also, as I grew up in my career, like after post secondary and just going to like hair school and stuff like that, I felt like I was experiencing a lot of systemic racism, which is what I have spoke about, in the previous weeks and whatnot. I wanted it to learn how to do black hair myself because I had a number of very bad experiences at hair salons. Like there was nowhere for me to do my hair. There was nowhere for me to definitely get makeup. Even there's nowhere to find makeup, let alone to have somebody do my makeup for me. So my passion kind of started with the whole hair thing. Just coming from Africa, I knew how to do my own hair, so I would braid my own hair. But then even to find like like the hair extension or the braiding hair, you still need somebody to bring that for you. So it
Yeah.
was just like a lot of challenges. I did not see, businesses at the time that represented me, that could be able to help me. But even until now, like if you go through like the cosmetology education, you will find like the curriculum in what they teach, even something as simple as relaxer, which is a chemical application. I feel like it's a very easy thing for somebody to learn. I can understand braiding, it may be a bit complicated because even some black people cannot braid, but to do like, simple chemical services like relaxer or to get a wash and set or haircut, I think those things are important. And I don't blame a lot of the businesses that are not offering these beauty services. That's because it wasn't taught to them in school. Like, what are you going to learn from, right?
Yeah.
And this is part of how I am trying to address some of these issues, because I believe that the foundation of the problem is at the school level. And then, it transcends to everything else. But overall, I'm very grateful, of course, to Canada for giving me this opportunity to be in this country and be able to unlock all of my potentials and maximize them.
Thank you so much for that. Now, it has been established that we have racism in Canada, whether systemic or otherwise. So,
Mhm.
and we have folks, join us online. Like someone said, is Alexandra Victor Morgan. He said systemic racism is huge problem in Canada.
Mhm.
So, something like that. Now, the question I have is here on the screen. In what ways have you experienced racism in Canada?
Well, I've explained about the school part, like with the system, because like I felt that I paid the same tuition as the next Caucasian person and whatnot. Now, when we have graduated, the Caucasian person is going to be able to get a job right away. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Because they can do all the other hair services. Just being a black person, a lot of black people are going to be like, oh, she graduated from school, so she can do my hair, you know? So that one was kind of like, it puts me in a spot where it makes me look unprofessional. Meanwhile, I went to school. So it made me that I had to travel to United States and I had to pay more money and go back to school. How can I graduate to go back to school? So
Wow.
to me, that was a systemic racism. I looked at, like even when I get like try to get services done for my face and stuff like that, like people in the fashion and beauty industry, anyways, are very catty, and when I mean catty, it's like, they're not really supportive and things like that. And people will make all kinds of ignorant remarks left, right, and center.
Mm.
If you're not like strong headed, you can easily be like broken down by people's words.
Yeah.
But it just is so much. It's like you face it every day. You don't know which example really to per se like give. But then like things like even access to like funding. Like when I wanted to start my own hair salon, I always talk about the hair salon because that was my first business that I started in Canada. So even to have access, like I said, access to education is limited, access to funding, whether it's like you're trying to get a loan or you're trying to get a grant or whatever, like just to even have access to information.
Yeah.
I just feel, I felt myself personally like it was me against the world. Like there is nobody to hold my hand. There is no mentors. They weren't like well established black community organizations where I was at so that I can say, hey, I want to start my own business. This is what I want to do. This is why I think I can succeed. Where do I go from here? You know? So it was really, really challenging where I pretty much had to start my business before I opened a store. I started it in my house. So I was doing like people's hair in my basement. You know what I'm saying? And I was even bartering service with people. Like, I will do your hair, you will do this for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I just felt that things could have been a little bit more structured and made a little bit easier, for not just myself, but for Black people in general to be able to have access to a whole lot of that. But in terms of at work, like honestly, the racism is practically every day. It's the pandemic of all pandemics, since
Mm.
I was born. I will give you an example of my last job just to be very specific to answer your question. I was working as a residential support worker here in Alberta. And I always go above and beyond my call of duty because I'm a very proud African person. So if somebody gives me a task to do, I am going to do it the best way. I don't care even if they're paying me or not paying me, whether they're paying me enough or not paying me enough. My work ethic has nothing to do with the person that's dishing out the job, and it has everything to do with me and my pride in my work. So I've never had a problem, with colleagues, and I loved my job and everything. And then come this particular new Caucasian supervisor, and she would just target me. Like, honest to God, is that she just comes to work thinking, how do I aggravate Naveen today?
Wow.
Honestly, it was every little thing. You know what I'm saying? Even starting from the way she would greet, the way she would go out of her way to humiliate me. You know what I'm saying? In
Yeah.
front of like peers and stuff. But I thank God my relationship with God is really good. It takes a lot for somebody to pierce through my skin because I'm not even looking at what you're doing. I'm looking way past you because
Mm.
maybe for you, this job is heaven and earth. But for me, I know that God has a much bigger vision for me, a vision even beyond her comprehension. And that's what I used to tell myself. You know what I mean? I would
Yeah.
say to myself, I don't need to respond to this. I am way above this. And the
Mm.
more that I ignore the behavior, the more it has escalated and escalated until I just said to myself, you know what? I'm walking out. I have never quit a job in that manner in my whole life. Like, I literally just said, I'm not coming back, never again. Done. Because I
Mm.
cannot subject myself every day. You can only take so much. But when you
Yeah.
know that like your time here has ended, just move on,
Mm.
which comes down to the point where I believe that true financial freedom will never come to anyone unless if they're working for themselves.
Hmm. That is amazing. Thank you so much for that explanation. This is still the Global Talkative Series with your host Larry Ajayi and with our amazing guest, Niven Dominic, the CEO of Niven Dominic Cosmetics. And our topic of discussion today is the topic from our book, Beauty from Ashes of War, from a South Sudanese refugee in Egypt to becoming a CEO in Canada. I want to appreciate those who have joined us online. Nana Aisha, thank you for joining. We appreciate you so much. Kalam Voice, thank you for joining. Dr. Ajile Olaiwala from United Kingdom, thank you for joining. D. Adekugbe, Pastor in Calgary, thank you. Pastor Emmanuel from Benin City, Nigeria, thank you. Mr. Alabi Adenekon, we appreciate you for those who are joining. And also Adetomi Ajayi, thank you for joining. We appreciate you. If you have any question for Naveen, kindly, put the question in a chat box on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram, and then she will, find time to answer the questions, and we'll continue, from there. Now, based on what you have said so far about the issue of racism and all of that, saying it every day, do you think Canadian government is doing enough to address this issue of racism in our community? Whether be it
No,
federal level, provincial, or municipal level, are they doing enough to address this issue of racism?
they can't even begin to address this issue because they're not ready to even acknowledge that this issue exists. So there is nothing to address. Like, if somebody is saying there is no problem, then how can you even begin to tell the person, I need you to resolve the problem? The issue starts from step one is acknowledging that there is a problem, and not a small problem, a serious problem. And that kind of thing cannot be, for example, listened to like in some, committee where people are just hollering their feelings or stuff like that. I think when the government, and if the government ever want to listen to the people, they will take just as much precautionary measures and everything that they're doing to deal with COVID-19 and take a study even for at least 3 years. People have had to relive their traumas and continue to live their traumas every single day at work. They don't even understand why there is so much turnover. And then with just COVID and this economic hit that the whole world kind of pretty much is going through, it just explodes all these problems and magnifies it. And now there is this racial awakening. You know what I mean? Of things that is like it's like right in your face. You've been looking at it every single day for the past God knows how long. So all of a sudden you're realizing it now. Like it's just like I don't even have any comments about that. But my point is that it is good that the government is beginning to ask questions. You know what I mean? Because they have not agreed or came into term that it exists. I have actually, gotten involved with some of these conversations. But when you have people like the premier of Alberta who disagrees with this statement, you have, people in the police department who think that this is just like, something else. It just is so discouraging, and you just have to watch and see how it all unfolds.
Hmm, hmm. That is amazing. Thank you so much. Now, talking in terms of the challenges we're facing, the racism challenge, it's a pandemic, and we have the coronavirus, a pandemic. Now, all of these are like too much to handle, you know, because we were not prepared for COVID-19. It
Mhm.
was an interruption into the calendar of humanity. Nobody was prepared for it. It's coming here and it's affecting everything. Everything is like, it's been crippled by this pandemic, and we have the racism challenge, with the Black Side Matter, all of that. These are major issues affecting the black community and all other community, in Canada and other part of the world. So, but with a focus on African Indian and black community, what are some of the steps you think black community or African community can take to make a difference in our society?
I think, and this is not a cliche statement because I know there is many other people who have also made the statement I'm about to make. The key here is unity.
Hmm.
When there is no unity, every person is just gonna be like you know, taking in their own initiative, saying the same thing as this person. So why don't we come collectively together? We are stronger together. You
Yeah.
know, just as a Christian, the Bible says that two are better than one. One will
Hmm.
chase 1,000, two will chase 10,000. Even to put it in a different way, like if you have like the stick, one stick, no matter what it is, you want to break it, you just snap it, it's broken. But when
Yeah.
you have a bunch, to break it is not
Difficult.
easy. It is
Hmm.
very difficult. So black people really need to put their differences aside and need to just see things for what it is. You know, we have to start to be compromising. And instead of saying, and as I'm saying this to everybody, I'm saying this to myself as well. How can I support and join this? You have to ask yourself, how am I going to take steps towards this unity? What am I willing to let go of? To make sure that the agenda moves ahead. And the issue in our black community is there is a lot of pride and there is a lot of people who want to say, I'm the first person to do this or I'm the first person to do that. And then now we have to question the fact if you are actually the first person to do it or not to do it. Who cares? It's done.
Yeah.
It is us, So to just have that collective mentality and to work in this unity, I think that is going to be the biggest challenge in the black community because we're not wired that way. We have been broken to so many little pieces.
Hmm.
We need to heal ourselves first and we need to try to see, even if it's not like in a huge global way, but we have to start somewhere. So it starts by even say you supporting the endeavors of those who are around you. There are even friends that are not even supporting each other. So how can you expect a whole community to come together as black people? We just have to let go of a lot of these things that are making us feel that we have to be competitive or we have
Hmm.
to, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
like own certain things, show off certain things. It's all in the mind. We need to work on our mindset and try to come together.
Thank you so much. There's this saying that behind every successful man, there is a woman, or behind every success you see in a community, go look for a woman who are living in that community because they are like the powerhouse, like the engine room of a factory. Now, being a very strong woman, an advocate in the community, from your own perspective, how can women, especially from Afro-Canadian communities, position themselves in building a vibrant community or society?
Well, it all depends on the different kinds of women that we talk about. Like women have really gradually are coming to the spotlight, because like for the very longest time, we've always been in the background. And meanwhile, we do a lot to try to keep the family unit together, to build the
Yeah.
community together. So the approach comes in different ways. I will always say education is the answer,
Mm,
because when you don't have education, it's impossible for you to gain knowledge, because there's a huge difference between knowledge and education, right?
yeah.
So a lot of our women, it's just more, it's about relevance, Everybody wants to be relevant. Everybody wants to be noticed and things like that. And as they should, because, it's not easy for you to work so hard and not get any recognition or not get any, type of encouragement so you can continue doing the work that you are already doing.
Yeah.
But I think that women need to further their education. And
Mm,
education is not necessarily mean like going to university, like or anything like that, but empower your mind with knowledge.
mm,
That
mm,
will change your perspective of things, because the more you educate yourself, the more open minded you are to receive things
mm,
from different perspectives. So education, women education is really important, and we need to also, as women, speak up a little bit, because we've been silenced for so long. And women are very creative, they're vibrant, they have a lot of good ideas, but working on ourselves, like in terms of self-esteem and self-confidence, and to be able to be vocal. So I really appreciate a lot of the things that I see in the community now. Like you see women coming together, supporting one another, like just trying to give somebody a hand up. I always say that a strong woman is not the woman that steps on another woman to get ahead. It's the
mm,
woman that carries that woman with her. So
mm.
for us women, we need to start becoming our sister's keeper. We need to
Yeah.
carry each other along. There is a lot going on. And sometimes, like us women, we always have to be this famous actors. Like we're always acting like everything is all good, always smiling, always trying to, portray a really perfect image out there. Be vulnerable, put yourself out there, because guess what? Another sister must be actually going through the exact same thing that you're going through, and she might be somebody that can actually help you. So let's just kind of lift each other up, and that's what I would say.
Thank you very much. Talking in terms of lifting each other up for women to speak out or doing something. While I was reading your profile, you've been involved in this advocacy, taking initiative to be a role model in the society and doing some amazing work. So that got me curious to know about your work behind beauty response to cancer. Tell us about that.
Mm. Okay, so beauty response to cancer is really dear to my heart. So what I have created, or I will say that Beauty Response to Cancer has chosen me.
Mm,
When I used to have my hair salon, I started with my humble beginning. I didn't have a lot of things to display in my store. I had a location that was getting a lot of break-ins because it was so close to the U.S. border. People were drunk and stuff like that, so it was downtown. So I moved a little bit further out, and I had this beautiful windows. Oh my goodness, they're to die for. And I thought, God, what am I going to do with this windows? And I'm thinking from a marketing perspective. So how can I use this windows to draw attention to my business? So light bulb went up, and I'm like, what about if we put a whole bunch of mannequins with wigs on them, So it's kind of facing everybody. So if you
yeah.
went by the store, whether you're walking, biking, rollerblading, driving in the bus, you will just notice them, because it will look like a whole bunch of people looking at you. And I thought
Mm,
that was a brilliant idea. So I displayed all of my wigs across, across the window. And one of the people that actually noticed this and loved it was a reporter from the Windsor Star. So he took a picture of this wig display because there was nothing like that in Windsor at the time. And he put it in the Windsor Star. So a lot of people were reading about it and I was getting commentaries. People were calling my salon. I was like, yes, that was a success. Now I'm going to have more Black women are going to come to my store because they're going to get wigs. I'm going to collaborate with theater people because I've always been into entertainment. At that time, there was Umoja from South Africa that was
mm,
there. So I thought this is going to be the target market. But then a lot of cancer patients were coming to my store. Like they felt it was like a little wig heaven or something. And I
yeah,
was kind of like, oh my God, you know what I mean? I never even went there and thought
yeah.
about, the, cosmetic side effects and losing hair and all of that. And they just kept on coming and sharing their stories with me. And I wanted it to do something because I just felt that it wasn't an accident. They came because
Yeah.
they needed something and
Mm,
something that I actually have and I can help them. So that is
mm,
how Beauty Response to Cancer started. Even though I am out of the whole, hair industry, but I am still in the cosmetic industry, and I offer a package to my cancer clients, all free of charge. That's even the reason why my skincare is dermatologist formulated. Because to me, the best
mm,
person who I can collaborate with to create safe and effective products is a dermatologist. And I've
mm.
explained to them about beauty response to cancer, the importance of having safe and effective skincare products that will just make clients feel good about themselves because they're already going through a lot with the cancer. So I can't create, products that have really harsh ingredients that is going to add to that. I'm trying to, alleviate some of that from them. So that's what I do. I give cancer patients free makeup and skincare, and I also do like pampering services. Every anniversary, I try to get a limousine and make them my celebrities of the evening. I pick them up, I pamper them, I take them out to dinner, and I bring them to the event, and they become basically the celebrities of my event.
That is amazing. That is something very, very, wonderful that you're doing. And thank you for, taking that role, and supporting the community and helping someone have a new lease on life, sort of giving them a kind of a hope that they can still be better version of themselves. Now, you started from, hair salon, hair industry, and then you find a niche within cosmetics, doing specific makeup products that can really help the body, especially African Indian and other individual other ethnicity, according to what I read in your profile.
Mm-hmm.
Living Dominic Cosmetics came about 2014, and you've been doing an
Correct.
amazing work. And I've seen the works you've done. You've supported, the community and all that you're doing. What is the future of Living Dominic Cosmetics? Where are you going? What are you doing now? Where are you going?
Naveen Dominic Cosmetics is going to be a household brand name for sure across the globe. I look at this as a platform where I am able to tell not just my story, but all the other women that have went through what I've gone through. And our cosmetic company is more than a cosmetic company. It is an
Mm,
empowerment movement. So in everything that I do, I try my best to make a positive impact in the communities that I do my business in. So definitely you are to see a lot of collaborative projects with me and a bunch of different organizations, especially in Africa, because I want to make sure that my roots are deep over there. Just because I live here, I have not, forgotten where I
Cosmetics.
came from. So I
Yeah.
have to go back and lift my people and just, inspire and encourage. Of course, right now, what's going on is we have collaborated with one of, top Canadian financial companies that are assisting us, but through them, we're able to assist a lot of clients that are going through, COVID-19 challenges. So people can purchase our Naveen Dominic cosmetic products online and they can go through Suzzle, which everybody gets approved. So you don't have to worry like you have to do this huge credit check and you might be denied or whatever. So you can go and just get whatever your Naveen Dominic cosmetic favorite product. You have a longer time to pay for it, interest free. So that's what's going on with us right now. Our website has been updated. We have an upcoming unique, sophisticated shopping experience that I will be announcing later on this week for people to come and shop in our new atelier. And, we're just kind of trying to push out there. Like we're not allowing the whole pandemic and all of that to make us feel like, oh no, we might have to like close our business now. No, we take the pandemic as a we've never been challenged in this manner
mm,
before in our innovation and ability to create really unique services and products, even in the middle of the pandemic. And as you know, Landry, I told you that I'm going to film school right now. I have
mm.
also discovered new markets within my niche. So with photographers and filmmakers, I have put together a unique package that filmmakers can use during the making of their films, or photographers can use, like if you're not like able to get into like a makeup studio or having a makeup artist to come on set, or to do your shoot or whatever. Even as a photographer, I'm just helping out by removing some of the shine for when you're taking photos, even on a natural look without makeup. Or if it's a female that has put on her own makeup, but then in the camera still you're seeing a lot of glare or something like that.
Yeah.
So I'm teaching photographers, even if you don't know nothing about makeup, what I'm teaching is how to minimize the shine. And that's
Mm.
just one step that I can sell, even one product, and I'm really proud of that.
That is amazing for our audience on Instagram. You can find some of this product on nevendominic.com. It's spelled
Thank
by
you.
Neven Dominic Dominic.com. Now, for all our audience on Instagram, on YouTube, and Facebook, you have the website on display, and that is why I'm trying to spell it out for all our audiences on Instagram, just to connect. And if you want to watch this episode, with all the links and the comments and the suggestions and the additions from our audience from around the world, you can go to Lanre Ajayi on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, and then you can get the video and all the informations with displayed. On the final notes, before we'll draw the curtain to this discussion. Now, you work on some projects, from
Mhm.
Africa, Nigeria to Canada, how has been the, and also I've seen you New York Fashion Week, Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week. You've been doing a lot of amazing international collaborations. How has been the reception of Living Dominic Cosmetics?
Honestly, I am so humbled with just the reception. Like I didn't, I thought like I have to put a lot into it to just get the attention, but it was just like, it's almost like a magnet. I was just attracting everybody to myself, especially the African women. They just, I just love them. Black women are so beautiful, and not just outside, even inside. Like people just like were able to identify with everything I was talking about. People wanted to connect with me. People wanted to collaborate with me. People wanted to work with me. And that's exactly what I'm about. Like I always want to share my light. I feel like there's just so much to go around. Thank you so much, Pastor D, for all of your comments. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Sorry, I'm not really good at responding to people because I'm not sure if it's showing the same people that are logging in on your side as mine. But
Yeah,
uh,
I
thank
can
you,
see,
Pastor
I can
D.
see, I
You
can
can
see.
see it.
I
Oh
can see
yeah.
everything. I can see Akonya Richard from Dubai joining. I can see
Oh
as you
wow.
are. So people are joining from all over
Ah,
the world, United Kingdom,
yeah.
Dubai, America, everywhere. We have an amazing,
I
wonderful
also see
crowd.
Frederick Leonard online. Thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate that. So yeah, see, that's why I don't do it, because when I start doing this, I lose my track of thought, and this is why I usually ignore it and try to do it more towards the end. But yeah, just overall, the reception has been amazing. I really believe that I am ordained to go to Africa. I just like I love the youth there. I love their energy, their entrepreneurial spirit. I just want to support them. You know what I'm saying? Like I just want to give everybody a chance, because I was given a chance that I don't
Mm,
feel like I deserved it, or I didn't do
mm.
anything to earn it. And I want to, pass it down, and press it forward. So I'm super excited about working with a lot of people in Africa.
That is amazing. Thank you so much for your time today on the show. It's been an awesome, awesome experience. Thank you for those who are joining the Yum Yum Cuisine. The Yum Cuisine, thank you for joining. We appreciate you so much. Kalam Voice, thank you for joining. Dr. Olaiwola Jire from United Kingdom, thank you for joining. Pastor Manuel from Benin City, Nigeria, thank you. Mr. Labiarinekon from Calgary, thank you for joining. Akanyo Richardo from Dubai, Yum Cuisine. Thank you so much. We appreciate you, Pastor Diade Kugbe. Thank you, Tomi Ajayi. Thank you for so much, and all of you who send in comments, questions, collaborated, commented and there. We appreciate you, and also our guest too, Nevin Dominic. Thank you, and tell our audience the book. If you have a copy of the book, can you
Yes.
just show our audience? If you have the copy of the book around you,
I do have a copy of the book. It's
you
called
just
Beauty from the Ashes of War. I'm going to send it to you if it's okay,
yeah,
Landry, so you'll be able to post it. And
yes,
what's interesting about the book is, if you really want the book and you cannot afford the book, I want you to send me a private message and I am going to give you the book for free.
mm,
So my Instagram is at Naveen Dominic, and you can, message me, especially South Sudanese youth, because I have to keep track of everything that is being spent. This book is a fundraiser for beauty response to cancer and South Sudanese refugees all over the world. So I really want to raise the fundraising dollars so then we can make an impact on those communities. But yet at the same time, I realize that there is a lot of power in words. And if maybe given my book can help somebody to better their life and be a good seed, that's exactly what I'm trying to do, but it will be just in a different way. So I just want to make sure that everybody have access to those who are interested and want to learn more. And you can definitely connect with me also at Naveen Dominic.
we're just hearing from Pastor Diadeku. We're saying all women ministry will sponsor 5 books for the viewers.
Oh,
Now, if you're watching online, I want you to share this video. Tag me, tag Nevin Dominic. That way we can monitor those who actually are watching, so that you can get a copy of the book. Thank you so much, Pastor D Adekugbe,
oh, wow.
the president of All Women Ministry. So we have 5 books, 5 giveaway for those who are watching here. Well,
Wow.
I know some people are watching from Dubai, United Kingdom, United States of America. I don't know how you're gonna do that, but for those who are within Calgary, I can promise you that you will get the book, and then you need to post this video, share it whether on Instagram or YouTube. Tag David Dominic, tag Lanre Ajayi, so that we'll know, yes, this book, you need to get this book, and the first 5 to do so will get this book. Thank you so much for your time today on the Global Talkative series. For all those who have joined us from around the world, I still remain your host, Lanre Ajayi. Watch out for more exciting episode. I can't begin to tell you, we have a lineup of amazing guests from around the world, because this is all about community, collaboration, hanging out, and inspiring one another. Like I close with this statement: you can either be your brother's keeper or your brother's killer. What are you out of the two? Are you keeping your brother? Are you helping your brother? Or are you killing your brother with your words, with your actions, with your behavior? An action or attitude of kindness, or an act of kindness, will save one person or the other. And in all that you do, make sure you're keeping yourself, away from any form of danger or evil, maintaining social distancing. Very soon, we're going to get over this coronavirus. So, to our guest, Nivin, final word to our guest, to our viewers. What final words do
Well,
you have?
first of all, I just want to fill this moment to give a huge thank you to Pastor D. This is not the first time that she supports me in this manner. She has invited me to be a guest on her show. And oh my God, one of her guests bought 25 copies of the book. And I'm just
Wow.
like, oh my goodness, this woman, she's always there to help. She's always there to cheer on. And she just doesn't talk about it. She's a woman of action, and she's always doing that. Pastor D, God bless you. I bless the day I met you. I am grateful for what you're doing. Thank you for tapping into my ministry and my calling to do what God has called me to do with the South Sudanese community. I really appreciate it. And what I will leave as a final note is that, we really, really need to start working together as a community. I myself today had a calling to reach out to all of my friends and to just tell them that I love them and I care about them. And I didn't know why I had to do that. I had actually a very packed schedule this morning. And when I did that, and I'm just like, okay, so I called 5 people, my top 5 people, and I said, I love you. I wish you all the best. I'm checking on you. And the Lord said, no, it's not finished. I'm just like, time. I'm not finished. How? And I called like 30 people today. And I just left them a voice note because I can't do the phone call thing. It's taking a long time, just to tell them I care about them and I love them. And 5 people told me that God sent me to do this for them. So the point of me sharing this is you never know what your action is, what kind of impact and ripple effect is going to have on someone. So, let's check up on each other, let's support each other, and let's see how we can collaborate and work together. I am always up for that. I am always open for that. So you can always reach out to me and let me know how I can support you. It's not always what I can get from you. I am here offering myself for you to take advantage of me in whichever way that you see it fit, because it makes me feel really good when I make an impact in someone else's life. So thank you again, Larry, for having me here. It has been a blast, and I appreciate all your viewers were really, kind, and I'm happy to answer more questions beyond the time today.
Thank you so much. We'll see you soon. Another episode. Bye for now.
Yes. Bye. Thank you.